The agenda that I'm seeing, Ginny, is from Friday. Is there a new one after
Yes.
that?
So I sent it to you all on Friday, so that should be the one then. Yes, I sent it with the invitation. I attached a new one, agenda on Friday.
Okay.
It was just the Loretta's presentation I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
But yes, you should have it. It should be all there.
Yeah. I just sent something to Dee, and I don't know if it went through or not. But all right, Steve. So you're ready. When you're ready, I'm ready.
Meeting packet from you, Steve. From you,
Let's
Sue?
go ahead and call the meeting to order. You want to start, Sue?
Okay. Yeah. Do you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all. Thank you.
Okay. Announcements. Coronavirus update. I have been on vacation, so I haven't gotten a lot of updates. I think that we're pretty much in the same status that we were last month. Schools are still opening. Is that correct? Because I've really been out of it.
Open today.
Yeah. So I think we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with this before we make any further changes. We are opening up town hall. We will have all the new sneeze shields and guards for the employees in place the 16th and 17th of this month. So we are allowing people to come in and without an appointment, though we do encourage people to have an appointment because they will be treated first. If two people come in at 10 o'clock, one with an appointment, one without, we're going to give the person with the appointment first choice. And the other person will have to wait. We are only allowing right now, I believe, one person in each office. So if three people need to go to the town clerk, only one can go in at a time, and we're working that out. I think it's working pretty well. I haven't gotten any emails about that. Coffee with the Community is going to be a virtual meeting on September 21st at 5:30 p.m. Residents are welcome to join the meeting by YouTube for viewing or join via the Zoom by calling with any questions, comments, or concerns. Links will be on for access and calling will be on the meeting agenda. On correspondence, we did receive two pieces of correspondence, one from Stavros Vertsopoulos dated 8/24 and from the Ledgewood condominium dated 8/28. Those are attached in your package. Now we'll go to a monthly financial update. Marcia?
Okay, one of the things in your package was 31 pages of a fund balance policy. And a fund balance policy is best practice, so we can set what level we want it to hit. And so what I've tried to do with this is, I'll summarize it for you in case you didn't read all 31 pages, but essentially what fund balance is our working capital. How much should we have in working capital? And years ago, the policy was 5 to 8%, and then it went up to 10%, and now it's up to the minimum amount is up to 16%, and then there's reasons why it should be higher or lower. And those reasons include expenditure volatility. If you have big additions to your budget, leverage, how much debt you have, liquidity, what are the cash flow needs that you have, other funds, which ones are supported by the general fund, the growth in town, and capital projects. And when we look at those, it's the last pages of that fund balance policy were some Excel spreadsheets, which is a way to make an analysis by the Government Finance Officers Association. And they set that up to help us give an idea of when we should be higher than the minimum. That I've never seen anyone be lower than the minimum. And if we look at that, it says that our fund balance, just by that analysis, should be 22% of our revenues. In comparison, that's double what we have at June 30th of 19, which was 11.89%. That's not the only thing to look at. We also look at a comparison with our peers, and they're all, most are lower than the 22%, and there were some graphs in there to show it. So this fund, taking all that into account, what we're recommending is that we have a fund balance of 18 to 20% of our revenues. That is significantly higher than what we have now. How would we get from here to there? When we have an excess, we would take, according to this policy, what I'm suggesting is that we take the excess. So let's say that revenues were higher than budget and expenditures were lower than budget. So our budget came in 200,000 below our what we thought it would. The bottom line, we're $200,000 better. What this policy is saying is, well, what if we preserve 1/2 of that and don't spend it, and just earmark the other half of it, that if we need to spend it, that's what we could use for big projects where we need to do additional appropriations. That, in a conjunction with a contingency policy where we put 0.5% of the budget in, so that hopefully, so the first thing that we would go towards is a bigger contingency, and then the second thing we would go towards, if we had to, was fund balance. The half that we said we would allow ourselves to spend. That's essentially how we would get from here to there. Do you have any questions on that? Do you want more time to read that? Do you?
Yeah, I read it. I'm sorry, go ahead, Sue.
No, I was going to say, I did read it. I was wondering if this was something, have we been doing this all along, or was this recommended by either, the bond rating agencies or, our auditors, or is this something that we just do every couple of years? I was just wondering.
Yes, well, this is a much more refined and arduous look at this. We have had an informal policy of trying to grow our fund balance, which has worked really well, which is evidenced in the fact that we just borrowed money at 1.55%. But the rating agencies do look at, do you have a formal policy? And do you follow that policy, even more importantly? And we've told them for the last 6 years, here's our policy, here's what we're doing, and we've always followed it, and we've never dipped into the unassigned fund balance, particularly with the coronavirus. And I think that impressed them very, very much, because many, I bet you half the towns in Connecticut, from what we've looked at, in order to get a 0 or a 1% increase, dipped into their fund balances in a big way. And we don't want to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, because
Marcia,
even
did
though
I
we're
say
at
that correctly?
Yes, so they're recommending we look at a fund balance policy, and they haven't formally been dinging us, but they do compare us to our peers, and we are less than our peers, and we've known that. And so this modernizes our policy, formalizes our policy, and they are looking for us to do that.
Because we're at, almost 12. But we've been increasing it the past couple of years because we realize the importance of this.
We've increased it from 1.9% to almost 12 since we took office. Yeah. And that's a good thing. But I think I'd like to look at this a little longer. I'd like to think about it. I want to talk to a few people about it and dig in, because this is a very complex policy. I want to make sure that we don't have, and I read it all, but I haven't gone through it from a structural standpoint.
And we're not looking for an approval tonight. We're just starting the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's a self-audit, the last templates, correct? Or is that input from anyone else as to how well we're doing?
Well, the rating agencies, the S&P gave us a very good rating, but they did mention that we didn't have a formal written, two things, a formal written fund policy. And the second thing they said is we didn't have, and this surprised me a little bit, that we didn't have a full financial plan. And I would have said, I thought we did. We gave you our 10-year capital plan, which includes all spending from all revenue sources, all expenses. So we have to try to figure that out and fit that in with it.
Yeah. We talk about the fund balance every year when we're discussing the budget, but, I was very happy to see this in writing. So it's something that we can refer to.
Yeah, I agree. And, when it comes to things like this coronavirus or, the macro burst we had, we
even the computers for the schools, anything. We've been, all of the suggestions, like state cuts, the disasters, the immediate needs. I mean, we've hit all those in the last couple of years.
Yeah, we
So
have.
it just tells you the reason why we need to have it.
Yeah, and I think we've managed pretty well. We haven't been dipping into fund balance. We've had to cut some programs. We've had to, reduce expenses, but we've managed our expenses very, very well. Revenues are a little bit odder. Taxes, fine. We know exactly what those are. But fees from land use, building permits, all of those sorts of things, they can kind of go all over the board. But we've always estimated those very conservatively. And I think that's helped us a lot to end up each year with, underrun on our expenses. Harry, you have any comments, concerns?
No, I agree with you. I have looked through it. I'm, interested to hear what information you got from some other places, and I'm okay at this.
Okay, good. So why don't we read it again and then make a decision to formally adopt it next month? Does that make sense?
Sounds good.
I don't want to rush into this because it is very, very complicated, and Marcia's done a lot of good work on this. Okay.
And it's complicated, and with the coronavirus, that things have changed. For example, in this, we took out the non-recurring, the non-lapsing fund for the Board of Ed. So we might want to have them review it as well, because the thought is that we don't segregate out little pieces for a department, that we do it all in total, that until we get to the total that we want.
Yeah, my thinking is along those lines. And also I'd like to give this to the Board of Finance. And instead of tomorrow night, them looking at it and trying to approve it, I'd like to give it to them and let them look at it for a month. And then next month, we'll take it, adopt it, maybe make some changes. Then the Board of Finance will have had a month to look at it. I think that's the right way to go about this.
I agree. That's
Sounds
fine.
good.
I'm sorry, Harry, you wanted to say something?
No, I say it sounds good to me.
Okay, good. Marcia, you want to continue?
The second thing that I have, and I'm sharing my screen now, is some adjustments to the COVID budget. That we said that we were doing an iterative process, and we were trying to do 90 days worth last month when we brought it to you. But we had said that the library hadn't finished their reopening yet because they hadn't opened at all. And then we have some more costs that are coming in October for in anticipation of the election in November. So if we look at this, that this is the best that we know now. That I did rearrange it a little bit so that when I do a budget to actual, it will follow the same format. So it's in a different order than you saw last month. But the things that are new are in red. And so the town clerk needs some new things for reopening. And the biggest thing that's needed is, not reopening, for the election. The biggest thing that is needed is part-time help. That we're talking about thousands of ballots, all tracked manually. That if all these people are doing absentee ballots. So that's the biggest thing, that also the state has let them know that they should have 80% of their of the registered voters absentee ballots available for them. So that's the biggest thing, and we're hearing about that on the news as well. That And that's what these costs all entail. Extra help, absentee ballots, stamps when for going back and forth. On this next page, you'll see that the state has talked about some reimbursements, and the town clerk is also looking into a private grant, but right now none of those are for the November ballot, none of those are firm. That the next changes are with the library. As we said last month, the library is got a reopening. One of them is a door monitor. And these we've already cut back. That I think the costs originally were up into the $15,000 to $20,000 range. Steve had them take some of the little costs out of their own budget and rejigger the door monitor so that there would be less hours, that so we wouldn't have to spend quite as much money on that. And then the one thing that has come up during the month are signs for the track. When the school's reopening and they're out there, the kids are out there, we needed some new signs to have them to let other people know that they're not allowed on the track when the kids are out there. That so those are the new costs this month. If you look at the summary, that the new changes, that these costs add up to $24,000, almost $25,000. That we have some, which would have to come out as a transfer from the COVID contingency. And so that's what we would approve tonight if you accept it. We do have some changes to the revenue. That one of the things that has changed is FEMA has come out with some new rules that saying that they're only covering PPE for emergency workers. That before they were, the paperwork that we have, and when they discuss it in the change, they would be covering it for all town hall, and they would cover cleaning public buildings. But now they're saying they're just doing that for emergency worker building portions of the building. So and starting September 15th. Again, we're getting a lot of different information, a lot of conflicting information. This is the best information I could get by looking directly at the FEMA sites and talking with the FEMA people. So we have some of those costs that will come in after September 15th, but before October 31st. So I've reduced that funding. I think that we'll get a little bit less. We also have two new grants that are out there. They were nice enough to name them very similar names, Secure Polls and Safe Polls. We actually received the Safe Poll check today for $2,700, and we're looking to receive another $1,000. And this is for the August elections, getting this money. And then finally, as we said earlier, that there's promises and discussions of being reimbursed for more election costs. I put it in as a placeholder so we don't forget that it's out there, but we don't have any money. We don't we have nothing that makes us think for sure. So this is everything we know as of August 31st, and also everything we know as of tonight. That
so my opinion on this is I was never really confident that FEMA would be giving us any money, any real money, considering that the entire nation has been declared a disaster area. And I think based on our previous experience with them, my guess is they'll continue to cut what they'll provide us. And I think we should plan to just handle this all on our own. And if we get grants in, great. But until we know how much they are and that they're solid and real, we should plan on working on our own. That's my opinion.
Yep, and that's what we've done in this budget. And,
Yeah.
Marcia, can you go back to the other page with the library and the polls and whatever? When we say didn't we have budgets for opening the library and the town hall? I'm just, so that people understand, when we say these are new costs, new since when? I mean, didn't we already have a budget for this, or did we
No.
actually not have budgeted yet?
Because
At the
we had
bottom of last
planned,
month.
okay, let me just jump in. We had planned, I think our original plan was, okay, the schools are going to open, we're going to be able to open, but it's clear that we're not going to be able to just open the doors and say people wander in. So we did not have them in there before, and that plan has changed. And I think we're going to continue to have that problem going forward until this coronavirus pandemic is over. And we're just going to have to adapt.
At the bottom of the budget last month that we had, I'm just trying to find it here. We
Right.
had said that we were still waiting for library and EMS costs.
Right.
It doesn't look like the EMS is going to have extra costs, but this is what the library has. That so down here we have still waiting for information from the library.
I mean, I'm just, I'm,
That's a good point. Good
I'm
point,
just-
Harry.
yeah. I mean, how many entrances are there to the track? I believe there's only 3 entrances to the track, if I'm correct.
Yes,
And 400.
we just want to put signs up.
$400
People have gotten used to having the schools to themselves.
Right,
with
but I'm
no
just
school,
saying,
no.
$480 for 3 entry signs? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many schools we're talking about here, though.
oh, I'm
That's
sorry,
fine.
Mark. I'm sorry, I'm only thinking the high school. You're right. I'm
It
sorry.
might be more than one school.
Yeah,
We
okay,
got a lot of free signs from CCM. I don't know
Right.
if they stopped their program. I mean, they were giving them out for free, which is great.
Right.
And we used them many, many times. But,
I was only thinking the high schools. Okay, thank you, thank you.
and state regs say that you cannot have non-school personnel on the campus. And I think, remember we had that discussion last year, right? When
Yes,
people were out
Yes.
there, so.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
this time and age, we have to do it.
okay.
So, any other further questions or comments? So I would make the motion that we make the transfer changes in the amount, Marcia, I can't read this, in the
It's-
amount of,
It's 24,877.45.
okay, out of the COVID into these expense categories. Do I have a second?
Second?
Sue seconds. Any further discussion, Harry?
No, thank you.
And forward this to the Board of Finance for their review also and
Mhm.
approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carries.
Um,
Marcia, do you have anything else for us?
No, other than that, we are working hard Kevin has been filling in, doing some purchasing for the Board of Ed and their desks and things. And they did call him a hero, so that's good. They must like his work. But that means that he's not helping on the financial statements and balancing. So we're a little behind there. So we don't have any formal reports tonight. But there's nothing that I know of that has changed or is out of line from the last time we talked. That we are on target, and the revenues, we were a little worried about the tax collection revenues, and those are doing well.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you very
Marcia, I
much.
had just one request. When things calm down and you have a moment to breathe, is there any way that we could possibly get a larger font? I mean, I have my glasses on and I can barely read these, but is there anything we can do to make it a little?
Or if we get this to you in advance, would be even better.
Well, I understand the fact that you're under a tremendous amount of pressure and you're doing the work of 5 people, but I mean, just, it doesn't matter how long I have it, it's not going to make the numbers bigger.
We'll work on it.
Thank
We'll
you.
work on it.
There we go.
You're right. It
Oh,
is
there we
difficult,
go. That's much better.
particularly on the screen. Okay, great. Thank you, Marcia. Now
you.
we'll move on to presentations. Loretta and the Arts Commission, was going to give us a presentation and progress on a sculpture recommendation in the location of the proposed park in the town center. Loretta, are you on?
I'm here.
Oh, great. Do you have an actual presentation? I don't know.
Dan has something I submitted to Ginny earlier last week.
Okay, do we have, oh, here we go. On the screen. Okay, take it away, Loretta.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to really summarize it. First of all, thanks for giving us the opportunity to speak with you tonight. And I guess we've been working over the last year. The request came through Greg Dembowski. See if we could put a sculpture in the future pocket park that's going to be part of phase 3. So if you know where, I'm sure you know where the park will be. It's like in front of the old Hearth building. I guess there's going to be a Dunkin' Donuts there, and it being the entrance to the new downtown area. The direction we were given is that they wanted something welcoming. So we have narrowed it down to a selection. I don't know if you want me to go through the entire process on what's occurred to get to this point, or do you want to see the sculpture?
I'd be interested in hearing it.
Pardon me?
I'd be interested in hearing that process.
Okay. So I guess it started last, spring of 2019. And, the Arts Commission, we're a group of possibly 12 individuals, but we're not really at full capacity right now. And we aren't experts at choosing sculptures. This was all a new process. All of us. And we knew that it would really be a would enjoy and see as they passed, and being a nice welcoming sign for the opening of our downtown area. So we started with, we thought it would be best to start with we would like to find a local artist. And so we were like, okay, well, is it New England? Is it Connecticut? Is it Fairfield County? And I think we really kind of said, well, let's start with Fairfield County and see what we find. And then there was questions about the size of it, and the park itself is probably, it's a pretty substantial size park. So we wanted to make sure that the project that we chose had enough presence that would be seen as people who were driving by at 25 or 40 miles an hour, and also be appealing for people to look at and things. So, then there's topics of what should the sculpture be, and we needed to, we reviewed safety concerns because it is in a public spot. We didn't want children climbing on it, or graffiti to vandalize it, or to be too fragile that would be broken if someone was climbing on it, or whether they hurt themselves or they damaged the artwork. So we knew we had to go with a stronger material. Then different types of sculptures. Bronze cast sculptures are very popular, but they're also very expensive. There's some sculptures that could be 80 to 200,000. We kind of felt as if that was outside our capabilities. We have other projects going on, and when we were first speaking about this, it was like, well, questions about the economy, and we didn't want to burden people and be begging for money continually. So we were trying to be as economical as possible when we were selecting a sculpture. Different date points that we hit were with Greg's needs and putting along his project. We wanted questions about, well, what kind of footing would we need? Would we want lighting? And we knew we didn't want any water features because we have to maintain that. We didn't want moving parts because they thought that would break. So we went out as we got into 2020. Our plan was we needed to go to the community and ask them, what did you think? And we did meet with a couple consultants from state agencies about getting how to go about doing doing funding and things. And there was a woman from a state agency that discouraged us from getting public opinion. She says, you're never going to get two people to agree on anything artistic because it's such a subjective topic and it means different things to different people. But we felt as if we needed to get this community's input. So we had planned to be part of the spring Park and Rec catalog, that goes to every household. We don't have a newspaper. We don't really have we don't have a radio station. We have a lot of Facebook pages and things, but we had submitted things to Park and Rec so it could be in their current publication. And we were going to do that in April. And then the COVID thing happened. And so that publication didn't happen. It went online. So Park and Rec was very supportive
going in and out a little
getting
bit.
the word out to all their contacts about all their programs and Park and Rec was very supportive in getting our word out along with all their programs, since the mailing wasn't going to happen. But they have their website and they have a Facebook page, and it was picked up by a number of our Brookfield community's Facebook, asking the community what their ideas are for a sculpture for our future pocket park. I'm aware that Facebook has a limited showing of people, but we gave a specific email address and we did get responses, as well as people posting on these Facebook pages. And we did read all the posts that we saw, and we also encouraged them to go to the website to our email and give us their suggestion. So the suggestions that we got ranged from, there was a lot about honoring our history of farming and ironworks, grist mills, blacksmiths. People wanted to see something abstract. They wanted abstract people. They wanted modern, colorful, no horses. They thought we were all set on horses. Children playing, something interactive. And then there was a couple additional comments or suggestions to honor essential workers or be kind, honoring September 11th, Brookfield Airport, and a flagpole. So going through those, the most popular were really were the ironworks and the farming and abstract, and being welcoming and modern. Those were the top answers that we got from people, as well as our commission ourselves. We were speaking amongst ourselves, and then we were also, everybody had their own conversations with different people. So we got, in addition to the Facebook responses, we got a lot of verbal responses from our membership, our commissions. So looking at that and then combining it with the initial guideline we were giving to be welcoming, we went out and tried to find a sculpture. And we know that there's a deadline as far as we want the projects anticipated to be completed next late summer, fall, and we wanted to get something there. We found that going and finding an artist and getting giving them our ideas and having them develop a project was again very expensive. So then we decided to pursue to see if there was any existing artwork. So now we're looking for something that's warm and inviting and abstract and has something to do with farming or ironworks. And we found an artist who was in New Fairfield, and he worked with stainless steel and iron and different types of metals. And he did have a handful of things that were available for sale. And we went to visit his studio in New Fairfield, and we walked away with 4 possible things. Some were too fragile. One was almost 5 years old and we thought would be problematic going forward. It looked like it after 5 years, needed some paint work. And we didn't think the town wanted to be repainting something every 5 years. So we voted on as a commission, and the one we came up with is this Catalina Rising. And Catalina is, it's the cost of it is $15,000, as we see on the screen. It's made of stainless steel. It's 10 feet high, 5 feet wide. The only maintenance is an annual power wash. And Catalina are the first seed, the first leaves of a germinating seed. And they say it helps protect the plant as it's rising out of the dirt. Pardon me. And then the future planting gets its strength from that and goes forward into the future. So we took kind of this meaning and felt as if, well, it's about growing and growth and new beginnings, and it's the center, it's the entranceway to our new downtown. The stainless steel reflects the metal, our ironworks and metal history. It also the Catalina is with our farming history. It was abstract. It has different, pardon me. It's different angles of it. You could see different things. You could almost kind of see, you could see the plant rising out of the ground. It almost looks embracing. We just felt as if it met a lot of the bullet points that we were striving for. And, there in the sunlight, it would be glimmering and could be very interesting driving by. An addition that we would like to have in place on it also is some lighting that would be on the ground shining up onto the artwork, and have it be different colors if we would like. And just into this white light, it could be blue, it could be green, it could change every 45 seconds or hour, whichever we choose we'd like to do. And that's where we are. The artist right now is holding the artwork for us until we complete our process. We want to make sure that your offices and your body is ready for us to move forward on working on fundraising and advertising for it. We didn't want to go any further without having tonight. So.
Yeah, this is really, can we scroll down to actually show the artwork that is being considered?
Yeah, so there's 3 pictures of it.
Yeah, it's really something. I don't get the farmer out of it, but I'm not an expert on art.
Well, it's just that the name of it is about growth of a plant.
Right. Okay.
I mean, we weren't intending it to look like a plow.
Right. Well, I'm not an expert. Sue, Harry, you have any comments? I'm not sure I'm comfortable yet to move forward. What I'd like to do is get more see the input from residents, see what they like
Okay.
about it. Maybe do a survey. You know, I don't want to get into one of those crazy things where people are screaming and yelling, but I would like to get it out to the residents to get some more feedback from them.
Well, what would you suggest to do that? First of all, we were told that it could be a can of worms to do that.
Yeah, it could. It always could be.
I
Anytime
mean,
you do-
it's not the type of thing I think we want to put to a vote. That would just be ridiculous.
No.
Um,
I mean, it is beautiful. My only thought, and again, this is coming from, I'm involved in painting, but on the other spectrum, you know, I'm not sure unless you are very involved with art that you're going to have any idea what this represents. It's beautiful. I think it is beautiful, but
I don't think what it I don't think we're gonna have people drive by and say, "Oh, well, there's a germinating leaf." I mean, I don't think that's what we were expecting.
yeah,
Yeah.
More just as an interesting object,
it is beautiful. It is.
the light shining on it. It does have it has a reflective mirror sheen on it.
What do you think, Sue?
I've had the privilege of sitting in on Arts Commission meetings, for the past year, and have, listened to the process of what they've gone through. I know they've put a lot of time and consideration into this. I think it's interesting because with the 3 pictures, it almost looks like something different in each one of them. So I think as people look at it, they will see something different.
I mean, that's what art is supposed to provoke thought. And, as there's going to be seating around the outside of it. I mean, back further, so people.
That is the point of art too, that it's everybody's different interpretation. It changes day to day, changes the angle you're looking at it. That's the same with a painting.
Mm-hmm.
So,
as Catherine, the chairman of Arts Commission, I also love the idea that you're talking about putting the lights on it so that at night, as you're driving through downtown, you'll be able to see it as well. Or in one of the things you had mentioned, maybe a holiday. So we put, whatever, like you say, red or green or blue or.
In speaking with people, when I first mentioned the lighting, I thought just on occasion the lights would be out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they would always be white in the evening, but the colors, and then people are like, no, it should be different color. It should be continually lit color.
And I think too,
what changes the interest of it.
Right. There is the intention of putting a stone wall around it so people can sit and reflect.
right.
I know the Lions Club has also offered to donate a few benches. So that's something else that people would be able to.
Yeah.
sit and
Which
enjoy.
Greg didn't know about that, Sue. So you should
Okay.
follow back with him on that one.
Okay. I'll speak with, I know we've spoken, within arts, we've talked about it. I've talked to the Lions Club about it, but I'll talk to Greg about it.
He wasn't aware of that. So.
Yeah, because maybe you don't need the wall if you're doing the bench, or you don't need the bench if you're doing the walls. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We can work that out. That's in the final design.
Well, Steve, do you think, just a question, do you think we need to almost kind of get a reaction from people?
I don't know.
Or do we need to present it and, introduce them to it and give them the background? Loretta had written out this very nice thing about, where it's coming from and where they came about it. And I think just getting that word out would be helpful too.
Yeah, I do too. I'd like
So maybe if we went back to we were originally going to go into Park and Rec's program book. They must be doing one for fall.
Yeah, they are.
We could prompt, just say, this is what we've selected. Tell us what you think. Or are you looking forward to seeing it? I mean, I don't want to prompt a lot of negative. Because
you're going to get some no matter what.
I know, but I kind of think we might be opening. I just don't want to open a can of worms because it was.
No, I don't either. I think the Arts Commission has done, yeoman's work here. I know you've done a lot of research with a very limited budget, though some people would think, oh my God, that amount of money. But You know what? I think we should move forward and say, this is what we've chosen and get feedback from people and then move forward from there.
Excuse me, perhaps you could put it in your spotlight, because I'm just afraid putting it in the Parks and Rec brochure, it's going to delay things a lot. I mean, if you put it in your next spot, it's called Spotlight, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that might,
Yeah, we can do that.
And get
That'll come
feedback.
out the first of the month, and that's time enough.
Yeah,
And put the pictures in there, and I think if we can get a write-up on the description and how the Arts Commission actually came to
okay,
this, you know, like what we did tonight, so people don't think, oh, they just went out and picked something,
okay.
right? That's real. I know you guys did a lot of work. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, we can tell the process that went through to get to this point, and then if we get a ton of people saying, you know, then
I
we,
don't think you will. I don't
yeah.
think-
I
But the
think with
point is,
anything, it's going to be the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
Everything is, you know,
and the point is, we can't ask for our grant, and we can't really do fundraising until we have an okay from you, you know.
I'm good with this. Sue?
So
Yeah.
we'll write something up
You good with
as
this?
far as how we got here, and then if you
Okay.
put it in Spotlight.
Harry,
Catherine, what
Harry,
is
are
your
you good
time?
with moving forward?
Well, I really don't like to move forward with things when I've seen them for the first time. I certainly am not against it. And I know that it will move forward, but I would be hard pressed to say yes this is the first that I've really seen this. So,
Mhm.
maybe I will, abstain because I don't want to vote no, because I know the hard work and everything that's been in it, but I don't usually make a habit of making large decisions.
Okay, so why don't we go with this compromise? We'll put it in Spotlight. We'll put it right at the top. We'll put the pictures in there. We'll ask for public comment. This is what the Arts Commission, tell them what everything's gone
Right.
through. So people see we didn't just do this on the spur of the moment, that a lot of thought and work and effort went into this, and then make a decision at our next meeting.
That would be,
Final-
again, I don't want to vote no because
Yeah.
I'm not against it. I just would I just,
It's First cut at it. I
Right,
understand what you're
right.
saying.
We honestly weren't expecting a yes tonight because, as you said, this is the first you're seeing it. So I think that's a good way to get this out to the public. You know,
yeah, that would be fine, yes.
Yes, make an introduction.
and it's, there's a lot of, with the storms and blackouts and COVID, there's a lot of negative stuff going around. This could be a real positive of,
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I
bright,
agree.
shiny
just
light
don't
at the end of
wanna-
the tunnel.
yeah.
I just don't want to spring it on people and say, this is done, boom, go.
Understandable.
I agree with Harry on that.
and then
So
you
let's
could-
put it in the spotlight, and I don't think we're ready to give you a yes or a no right now. Let's put it in spotlight. That'll come out October 1st, and then we'll get the feedback. People will be very quick to come back with their feedback,
Okay.
and we'll ask people to do that, give us their feedback, and then make a decision in October. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yep.
yes.
Yeah. When is the October Board of Selectmen meeting?
The 5th. It would be the 5th.
Yeah,
So-
is that too soon?
No,
That's,
because we'll get it out Thursday, Wednesday, the 30th, spotlight, and then people have 4 or 5 days, and then if we can just have people comment with their friends, Facebook, whatever, have them look at it. We got a pretty
Because
decent
we-
following.
on the Arts Commission, after that October 5th, we're not going to be doing anything, but we'll be just formulating our plans. What would be our
Okay.
next step?
Okay.
Based on what happens on the 5th.
Loretta,
Okay.
I had one quick question. Considering things go well, and what would you think would be a time where it would be able to be in place? Are you looking at a year, maybe next spring, or?
Well, it'll be
well,
with
the-
phase 3.
Yes.
Okay,
So
okay.
the
Next
sculpture
summer.
is complete, and
Yeah.
he said that it could be in place by next July. It'd be no problem having it put in place.
Right, good.
That might even be early for us
Yeah,
with our construction. We can work that out next year at some point. No
If
doubt.
we
Yes.
excuse me,
And Loretta,
yes.
I'm sorry, Loretta, Greg is not looking for now to be, installing the cement platform or anything like that.
Yes,
We've got
he is.
time with him.
He's got to
It is-
start
it's-
to estimate the costs.
But
Yeah,
here's
he's
what I would
estimating
say
the
we
cost,
do
but
is have him start to put those in the design, the costs of putting in the concrete base, the lights, whatever. And then if we have to, we'll have a change order because we do need to move forward on the final design.
right,
Okay.
and he has what's from us, he has what's needed for his estimates, and if it
Yep,
changes, it changes, so.
and if
Yeah,
it's
I've
not,
seen it.
if it's not
So I'll
this,
tell Greg to go ahead and start with that because I don't think we're going to change our minds.
right,
And we'll put that in the final design so we can go out to bid. Because we want to do that in the November, December timeframe, because that's the best time to get contractors to line them up for next year. Okay?
yeah,
Sure.
and if we don't go with this sculpture, we'll be sure to go with one that had the, the same kind of weight and things like that, so he can still
Yeah.
go ahead with the foundation.
Yeah.
Can I say
We
something?
can work that out. That's not going to be a problem, though.
So
It's
I
not
just,
going to be a problem.
can I just say before we leave, so I don't have to wait for public comment, I wanted to thank the three of you and the rest of the town, but for all the work you've done for the COVID and the storm. I know you're working really hard and.
Oh,
we'll
thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're trying. We're trying to keep everybody safe.
Yeah, we had students for the first time today. That was,
Oh, how did, and not to go off point, but how did it go, Catherine?
it was good. It was good. The
Good.
kids all left their masks on. It was good, so hopefully we can stay open.
Good,
Good.
excellent.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Is
Thank
Greg on?
you.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Luann.
guys. We really appreciate it.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
You don't have to leave, but just thank you.
no offense.
Thank you, Brett.
Hi.
Greg Dembowski was going to give us an update on phase 3.
I don't think he's with us.
No, he
Okay.
left you it's included. He left you a PDF with all the.
Yeah, the expenses and everything are included. So you can see it in the PDF and in the package, what the expenses are, right? Which I think are,
My phone is hooked up to my computer and I can't,
just maybe turn your phone off.
there we go. That's good.
It's annoying. Okay, so let's move on. Updates. Your
Gary,
popular
you're a busy
guy.
guy.
I have been working on a draft letter to the FCC, but I'm not completed with it on the 5G technology. As you know, I'm on vacation now. We've been working on the coronavirus and a lot of other activities. I should have that finished next week. And I want to run it by Tom Beecher. And then we'll send it to the Board of Selectmen for your review and any comments. And then we'll send it out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and actually it was the day after our last Board of Selectmen meeting that was the tropical storm, so there's been
Right.
a lot going on.
There's been a lot going on. Okay, a consent agenda. I would make, yes, Sue.
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
I would make a motion that the selectmen approve the items on the consent agenda consisting of the selectmen's approval for routine matters, Brookfield Police, the Brookfield Police Department's distracted driving grant, they get that every year. The Board of Selectmen meeting minutes, and they're attached here. Employee changes, we have new hires, Betty Robles as the town hall front desk, which is directly related to coronavirus. Tony Santoro in Public Works, Alex Stewart in Public Works, Dawn Marcotte in the assessor's office, Rachel Leff in the library, Michael Jadis, Parks and Recreation Department, Paulo Freitas, Parks and Recreation Department, and Jeremy Barr in the town clerk's office. And driveway bond releases. I don't think we need to read all of those. Do I have a second for the consent agenda or any questions?
Second, I'll second it.
Second. Any questions, concerns, issues with those?
No.
Okay,
No.
hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, carries unanimously. Additional monthly agenda items. I would make a motion that the selectmen appoint Matthew Anton as a non-voting youth member of the Youth Commission. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those
Thank
in
you to
favor?
Matthew.
Aye.
Aye.
I'm bopping back and forth between two screens here. Okay, so do we have any public comment? That's our next item. Does anybody wish to make public comment?
No, I did want to just bring one thing up before the board. I don't know if I can do I need to do that in public comment? Because it's
Well, we're in public comment, so you're allowed to comment.
Harry Shaker 87 Long Meadow Hill Road. I thought, I'm just thinking about all the concerns we had and the problems we had with this last storm. And I know this winter is supposed to be a pretty difficult winter, and we still have storms on the way,
Yep.
most likely. Is it possible, or do you think it would be wise for us as a selectman's office to at least attempt to get someone from Eversource to come to a Board of Selectmen's meeting or join a Zoom, just to talk about the future, what changes have been made, or what happened, why were we in the boat we were in?
Yeah.
I know it might be futile because they didn't want to say anything to us during the storms, but at
Yeah,
least we can attempt.
I can try to do that, Harry. I think that what we're going to get, given the number of lawsuits and legal wrangling and Pura and the legislature that they're going through, I think they would just say, we just don't have the time or the effort. But I can certainly ask them, because I would love to hear their explanation for what went so wrong so quickly.
Right, and not even not to look back, let's look forward. Are you anticipating it being better, or are there any changes already made moving forward? And again, even if we don't get anywheres with it, I think at least we've done our due diligence to try to get them in. And
Okay, I'll try to do that. I think that's a good idea.
okay, good, thank you.
Steve, can I just jump on that too? I have had people ask me if Brookfield was intending on joining any of the lawsuits. Now, I don't know if we want to incur the cost, but if that was anything that you've thought about.
There was a discussion amongst the Danbury, New Fairfield, Sherman, New Milford, Bethel, and Brookfield, I believe, to join in on a joint lawsuit in order to save a little bit of money. We don't need 5 different towns all doing the same thing. I'll follow up with that, because I think we need to bring pressure on Eversource in a lot of different ways to never screw up the way they had in the past. And one of the ways to do that is make it financially painful for them. And a lawsuit would do that. So I'll follow up with the other selectmen. Didn't get a chance before I went on vacation, but I will do that. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Steve, I had one other thing that's a couple of people had brought this up to me, and I just wanted to maybe let you comment on it to see what your thoughts were. And it was concerning Governor Lamont's executive orders that, as far as them running into next year's, I believe there are some elections coming up, that this is going to run into the next session. And I have some issues with our governor, but I think he's done a very, very good job. I have to commend him on what he's done with the virus and keeping us safe. But do you see any issues with that, or being into the next one, or not?
I think, Harry, I have to be honest with you, I don't know the answer to the question. I think when the legislature comes back into session, they are either going to ratify or deny some of his executive orders with legislation, and we have to watch that very carefully.
Right. I mean, I had been asked that, I don't want to. I think he's done a very good job with how he has handled this, and I think, I just think one of the reasons why we're as safe as we are is because of his diligence. So, but that was brought up to me, and I just wanted to bring it.
Yeah, I don't know, and I've gotten no feedback from the state as to what he's going to do with these executive orders. Something may have come out that I haven't seen last week, but if anything does come up, I will shoot it out to you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other further comment? I see our treasurer on there. John Lucas, do you have any comments or issues, concerns?
No, not really. I just want to comment on the fund balance policy. I think it's about time that we've documented all of our controls that we've worked very hard to put in place kind of informally. So I appreciate all the hard work that Marcia and Kevin have really done on that particular policy. Second, this is kind of from the other side. Do we know if anybody on the Arts Commission is involved with the Historical Society in terms of, is the Historical Society sitting on any memorabilia that could maybe be incorporated into the Pocket Park sculpture, or I don't know.
We can ask. We can ask. So we'll ask. I don't know. I think they're completely separate. Right. I don't know what kinds of things they might have.
Yeah, I don't know if they've had any discussions with them about that.
Okay,
No, it might be a good idea if they ask them to do that.
right.
And we
Yeah, you
will.
never know. There could be something large that doesn't have a venue that maybe
Yeah.
could be, displayed.
Yeah.
So
That's a good idea, John.
thank you.
Always
Thank you very
think-
much. I really am. Thank you.
So, last chance for public comment. Anybody? Hearing none?
I just want to thank all the teachers, all the administrators, bus drivers, kids, everybody. I heard from several people that today did go well, and just good luck to everybody, and I hope everyone has a good school year.
Let's keep everybody safe. That's a good comment to make, Sue. Thank you. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have
I'll
a second?
second it.
All those
I'll
in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.
Have fun.